Hello, everyone, and welcome to Love Chat with the Love Twins. I apologize for starting a little bit late today. I was having some technical issues, but we are live and we're here, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. Today's topic is a hot topic. So we've been getting a lot of hot topics lately because we are paying attention to what you're sharing with us, what you're asking about, what it is that you want support with. And today's topic, if you know somebody who it would really make a difference for them, in addition to you, to have this information, to be able to identify, how do you know that if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, that's the first thing, or if you've been in a relationship to a narcissist, and then what you can do so that you don't end up in that same place again. So this is really important information because narcissist, that term narcissist, it's really a buzzword out there now. Everyone's using it to describe someone who's either been selfish or has lied or maybe has turned a situation around on them. And yes, those are some of the signs of narcissism, but it's not everything. And so it's so important to be well informed about things like this, and also to know what to look for, and then what you can do to make sure that you are in a healthy relationship and you don't end up in a relationship with someone who could be a narcissist. And also, really important to know what it is that narcissists are attracted to, because they are attracted to a certain kind of energy, a certain kind of beingness is attractive to them. So how beneficial would it be for you to know whether or not that's happening? So I'm going to open up here. Let me see. I think I can see. Now I've lost everything. Oh, here we go. All right. I don't see any comments yet, but if you're here, say hi so that I can know that you're here and I can talk to you. And I'm also going to have my Facebook up here because I'm doing something a little new today and I want to make sure that I can see you. Okay, here we are. All right. So the first things that's really important to know is that narcissism. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Diane. Okay, I see you now. Yes, Patrice. Okay, awesome. People are joining in. So here's what's really important to know about narcissism, because so many people, like I said earlier, are using it to describe people. They think they were married to one. They think they were brought up by one. Is that only let me see. I want to get my numbers straight. 0.05% to 5% of the entire population of the United States may have narcissistic personality disorder. That is a very small percentage of people. So this is why using that term to describe everyone doesn't work. It actually doesn't work because, one, nobody wants to be called that. Two, calling somebody that, whether they have it or not, is not going to support you or them. And three, it can really downplay the importance of this. This is a mental disorder. So this is a mental disorder. It's not somebody just choosing a behavior over one behavior or over another one. So people who are narcissists have to be diagnosed by a doctor. So unless you are, and it's got to be a psychiatrist. So unless you're a psychiatrist and that's what you've studied and you've put somebody through testing, because they've got to be tested, then chances are you may be calling somebody a narcissist who isn't. They may have poor behavior, they may have some character flaws, but it's not narcissism. And so I wanted to make sure that I pointed that out because, like I said, it's a very, very small percentage. Does it exist? Absolutely. It absolutely exists out there. Is everyone you're dating, is anybody who, any man who sounds like he's conceited a narcissist? No, he could be conceited. Some good information for you to have. So today we're here to share about how you can identify what are and what are not narcissistic tendencies, because we're not doctors, so we're not going to call them narcissists, but there are some tendencies, some things that you can look out for. And also, we're going to talk about other red flags that have nothing to do with narcissism. And by the way, there aren't a lot of red flags out there. There are some things to pay attention to, and then there are some red flags to pay attention to. So I want to go ahead and go over this with you today and really make a difference with you. So again, if you know somebody who's been in a relationship with someone and they feel like they've been taken advantage of, or they feel like they keep attracting not just you, but you know somebody who keeps attracting people who take advantage of them or don't listen to them. People who flip the table on them when they're expressing how they feel. There are ways that I'm going to teach you today that are going to make a difference for you and for them. So go ahead and share this with someone that you know will make a difference for, okay? So the first thing that I want you to know, what are the signs of somebody who is a narcissist, or sorry, somebody who has narcissistic tendencies? So these are people who have a sense of grandeur, and there are 3 different types of narcissism. So I'm not going to go into it that deeply, but one of them is a sense of grandeur. They think they're better than other people. There's a sense of entitlement. For example, if somebody has narcissistic tendencies, they will think that you need to drop everything that you're doing when they need something. They may feel like it's a sign of disrespect for you to have your own opinions or to disagree with them. So all of these that I'm telling you now are important for you to know in anyone that you're dating or in a relationship with. These are some of the signs that are either narcissistic tendencies or just things to look out for. If you share how you're feeling with someone and that is downplayed, then that's something to pay attention to. Now, is there a way, and we teach our clients how to do this, that you could communicate in a way that someone can actually hear what you're saying? There is, because if you sound like you are criticizing or you are complaining about something that somebody else has done, whether there are narcissistic tendencies or not there, nobody likes that. But people with narcissistic tendencies tend to be very sensitive to that. So as soon as they hear a criticism, they're going to shut down and they're going to find a way to defend themselves and counterattack. So if you're criticizing and it sounds like a criticism, you're not going to be heard. In addition to them not wanting to hear it. People with narcissistic tendencies and other red flags to watch are someone who has the inability to feel empathy, to understand what somebody else is feeling. Like it just doesn't occur for them that their behavior or what they say or something that they do or don't do is something that would impact somebody else, because there's a hyper focus on themselves. And so if you are dating somebody who you're sitting at a table with them and they tend to, first of all, control the conversation completely, you don't get to say anything, or they tend to interrupt consistently and switch the conversation and make it about them, that's something to pay attention to. This person, whether they're narcissists, have narcissistic tendencies or not, is someone who is trying, it may look like they're trying to impress you, but they're hiding a deep sense of insecurity with this feeling like superior or feeling like they have to show you and impress you about how good they are, how smart they are, how successful they are. So if you are on a date and you're not being asked about yourself, this person is only sharing about what they're interested in, about themselves or what they do or something that they're into, and they just want to talk about that. Pay attention, because this person is not showing that they're not demonstrating that they have the skills to be able to be in a conversation with someone outside of themselves. And so you're going to end up feeling like what you have to say isn't important, or like, why am I even here on this date? And if you're in a relationship and you're experiencing that, we're going to talk about in a little bit how you can speak up about it and be heard about it. Now, another sign is that they need to be admired. So if they don't hear admiration or they don't feel like they're the center of your world, that insecurity that they mask with the superiority is going to show up. And then one of the major things that you want to look for is manipulation. Now, some people think that they can tell very easily that someone's manipulating them, but I want you to know that it's not as easy to see if you yourself have things from your childhood or experiences that you've been through where you've been either raised or you've been around or you've been subjected to a high level of manipulation. So there's other mental disorders that can create this. People with addictions, if you were brought up with that, they tend to manipulate in order to keep the eye off of the addiction, and they'll make things like your fault. There's a lack of personal responsibility that shows up as well. So manipulation, sometimes it's easy to see. Many times, if you were brought up in that world, it's not, and it feels familiar. So knowing how to be able to heal whatever piece of your past is still impacting you. If you tend to attract men and be in relationship with men who tend to like flip the coin on you when you say that something's important to you, and then they make it not important and they redirect towards themselves, or someone who uses guilt as a strategy, pay attention to that. Because if you're someone who was used to giving in, you don't have clear boundaries, or you were told that you shouldn't feel the way you feel, you shouldn't be the way you are, or there's something wrong with you, whether somebody else said that or you said that to yourself, this is something that you will struggle with. So manipulation and shame are some of the tools that are used to get you to drop your point of view, your boundaries, to go against your values. And this is why having a strong sense of who you are and what matters to you is very, very important, because the more you like somebody or the more attracted you are to them, if you're not paying attention, that could drop. You could drop that to keep their attention, to have them be and continue to be interested in you. All right. Let me see what else. I have some little notes here. As much as people with narcissistic tendencies do not like they avoid criticism and judgment, they feel it very, very strongly. I mean, nobody likes it, but what happens is someone who has this kind of personality disorder will become very, very angered at the slightest hint of criticism, at the slightest hint of judgment. So they'll become angry, and like I said earlier, they'll counterattack. And as much as that is true, they criticize and judge a lot. So it could be covert in the beginning, like, oh, maybe you shouldn't wear that, or, oh, really, is that what you're gonna wear tonight? Or, you know, you should really stand up to them at work because it looks like you're not strong, or whatever that is. Those covert little criticisms, it might start that way. Eventually it'll intensify. So again, we're going to talk a little bit about communication and how you can, and yes, I see your question, so I will absolutely be coaching on that in just a moment, Patrice. Patrice is asking, so how can you heal your past when interacting with a person displaying narcissistic tendencies? You're in the program, Patrice, so in the Ready to Love Again program. So I'm going to tell you some of the things that are in that, and if you're not in the program, ladies, I'm going to give you some specific things that you can do. I wanted to just say something else that's really, really important. So another buzzword out there is love bombing, and there are people doing that. One of the things that people with narcissistic tendencies tend to do is they will pursue very strongly. They'll make sure they say all the right things and do the right things. They can come across very charming and charismatic, and they're very strong in that until they get what they want. And then when they get what they want, they'll pull away. And sometimes even drop you like very oddly. You don't even know how from one day to the other it went from super, super strong emotion and intensity to nothing. So that's another thing to pay attention to. This is why, again, one of the things that you can do, we're going to talk about how knowing how to date is so important, because in the beginning, we've all heard this, right? In the beginning, there's the honeymoon phase, but how do you keep your eyes wide open so that you're not just looking for the feelings that you want to feel, but you're actually seeing what it is that you need to be looking for? So I've given you a lot of information on what those tendencies can be. Again, they're narcissistic tendencies, and they're also character displays of character that you want to pay attention to. And this is why in our work, the heart work, and in our programs, we really do, I believe, a phenomenal job in supporting women and being able to heal those pieces of the past that tend to come up and repeat themselves. Or if they don't repeat themselves, they're just such a strong block and a barrier that you feel like you just cannot get past it. If you've been in a relationship with a narcissist, you might be so afraid of falling in love with another one that you just don't fall in love again. Or you just focus on your career, focus on your kids, or focus on something else so you don't have to focus on this area. And look, nobody needs to be in a relationship. If that's something that you really want to be, have in your life, be in a relationship with someone who is loving and cares for you, who will listen, who will make sure that you feel important and they know that they're important too. Like all those beautiful things that people want to experience in a relationship, where you feel seen and heard as an individual, and you can also come together and feel strong as a couple. If that's what you want, don't deny it because you don't know how not to fall into the same patterns again. It's really important to know how to do that. So one of the ways that you can heal, if you've been in a relationship with someone who has, somebody said, I've been in a relationship or was married to somebody who was a diagnosed narcissist. If you've been in that situation, one of the most important things that you're going to need to learn how to do is to not make that piece. And maybe you weren't in a relationship. Maybe you were brought up by a parent, or you were brought up by someone who had these tendencies, and you grow up feeling like you weren't important, or what you had to say didn't matter. And you lost that sense of who you are, because when you're told you shouldn't be who you are enough times, you just end up being whoever you have to be accepted, to have that experience of being accepted and loved. So if that's something that you've been through and you want to heal that, the first thing you have to do is to say, I'm ready to heal. I'm ready to let that go. Because there's got to be a readiness to step away from this. You may not know exactly what to do next. That's what we're here for as love coaches. But you've got to be ready to do that. And here's what I mean by that. There could be a tendency to hold on to that as protection. You think you're going to stay safe if you hold on to that. And then what you do is you really undermine your desire to be in a loving relationship, and you're giving all your power away to this person who broke your heart or who hurt you in some way. So you've got to be ready to step out of the role of being the victim of this person. You're not a victim. You went through something, but you're not a victim. What you felt was real. The pain you felt was real. And you do not have to stay victimized by this person's behavior. Again, whether this is someone you've been in a relationship with, or a sibling that you have, or a friend that you know, or someone who you were brought up in that environment. You don't have, the only way you can be a victim is if you stay at the effect of what happened. You can heal that and rise up into your true self. So first, you've got to be ready. Second of all, you've got to have the skills to be able to not make that piece of your past have anything to do with who you are and what you're worth. And I'm not talking just about saying things over and over to yourself to make you feel better. I'm not talking about doing the opposite. So you weren't confident, so now you go out there and you create all these crazy ways or whatever ways to get some ego hit. We all do that, by the way. But if you feel like you're always striving and there's not enough medals, certificates, awards, acknowledgement, it's not enough. It's coming from a sense of not being enough. And so you've got to be able to heal that. And so one of the ways that you can heal that is by restoring your sense of who you are. A lot of the identity of people who've been in these kinds of relationships comes from whatever the other person said you were or weren't. And just knowing that won't heal it. You've got to have the skills to be able to do that. And so understanding how that identity got created and then really being, like I said, ready to let it go will have you start to unhook from that, so you don't keep being a reflection of what your past told you were, or what you decided you were based on your past, including this person who was in your past. But who are you right now? Who do you say you are right now? And how do you match up with that? How do you rise up to match up with who you say you are, so that it's demonstrated in every way that you are for you, in every way that you are with other people, so that you feel comfortable inside of your own skin, so that you feel like you're not pretending to be one thing or another, or hiding something that you feel others won't accept, or becoming who you think you need to be for other people to love you. It's really a healing process. It's knowing how to set clear boundaries that are connected to what you value the most in your life. Everybody has their top values, and love being one of them. But what is love really to you? How does that look like for you? And if the experience of love has been thwarted, and the vision of love has been skewed because of your past, how do you move away from that so you can create your new definition and what the experience of love is going to be for you now? That's a very important skill to have. So being able to see what it is that you value, how do you define that clearly, and then how do you create boundaries that you will hold yourself accountable to? You may communicate them with other people, but ultimately, how do you get to a place within yourself that you feel so strong and so certain about who you are, that the level of trust that you have in yourself is so high, and your confidence is so high, that when you say something, you can actually trust yourself to follow through, no matter what's going on around you, whether that's the attraction you have to someone, or the fear of being rejected, or the fear of being abandoned. None of that is there, because you've healed it. And you can actually say, no, I'm not going to, for example, here's a boundary. And one of the skills that we teach in dating, I'm going to date more than one person at a time. And even if somebody you really like and you're really attracted to, and he's really attracted to you, says, well, I'm ready to come off the app, and it's only been a week, you will have the courage to say, well, I really appreciate you sharing that with me. And right now I am dating because I am looking to, to find the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And for me, 1 week is not enough time to know that. And say that, and not be afraid of what comes next, because you know who you are, what you value, and what you want to experience. Like, for some of you, that would be awesome to be able to have that level of confidence and the communication skills to communicate it that way, because you're not telling him he shouldn't feel what he feels and he shouldn't do what he's going to do. You're just focusing on yourself. Same thing if somebody says, well, I think that when you, you're putting your friends before me, and that just makes me feel like you must love them more than you love me if you're in a relationship. And then all of a sudden, if you've been through all this painful past and trauma and everything else, you might start trying to say, what do I do so this person feels better about themselves, or doesn't feel that way? You could say, I'm really sorry that that's how you heard it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this event is important. It doesn't mean that it's more important, and it's what I have planned, and it is part of what I really value, and that's what I'm going to do. That, and how the importance of that versus you, that's not the conversation I'm in, and feel strong and confident with that. So you can see that there's a place that I'm coming from when I'm talking to you like this. I've had to do all this work that I'm talking about, this healing work, because I was brought up in an environment where there was a lot of dysfunction. There was this relational dysfunction. There was a lot of verbal abuse. There was a lot of name calling. There was eventually, and as I hit my preteen and teens, and my mom married her third husband, there was physical abuse, alcoholism, mental health disorder. So there was a lot that was influencing what I could see and what I experienced and what I thought love was, relationships were, who I was, all got impacted by that. So I've been able to heal from that, and even forgive the man who abused my mom, because I wasn't willing to continue to hold all that toxicity in my heart. And I did for so many years, like for probably 20 something years, I held it there. Like I couldn't bring myself to let it go. And it's not that what he did was okay. And it's not that I condone that. It's that I was not willing to keep carrying that around. So I let it go. I chose to let it go. And all the anger and all the pain and all the resentment and all the hatred and all the victimization, all of it, I chose to let it go. And when I was able to do that, I got my power back. And you can also get your power back. When you get your power back, you also get the sense of who you are back. And you'll start to see things in a very different way that's not, shadowed by what you've been through, but it's right here, right now. What do I want? And then knowing how to create that, knowing how to create momentum behind that so you can very quickly manifest the love that you want, the life that you want, the abundance that you want, the peace that you want, the health that you want, whatever you want, being able to do that. And so a lot of this is something that we're going to be teaching you how to do in a challenge that we're having coming up very, very soon. It's called the Beautifully You Challenge. And if you've ever been to the Beautifully You Challenge, you know why I am so excited about it, because it really is such a powerful, amazing, transformative challenge. In 5 days, a lot of the healing that I'm talking about right now, you could absolutely create the transformation for yourself in this. So the Beautifully You Challenge is happening March 18th through March 22nd. And it's happening at, let me just see, because I don't see the time there. Give me just a second. It's happening at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have the general session. And then every day for an hour after the general session, we're going to stay with the ladies who are in the VIP, who chose VIP. And we're going to go deeper into whatever we covered during the general session. And we're going to do one-on-one coaching. We're going to do a lot of heart work on how to do the same healing that I'm talking about here. How do you break free from that identity of the past? How do you let go of something that's been a part of your memory and your heart and your experience for so long? How do you do that? We're going to go into that. So at the Beautifully You Challenge, what you're going to do is you're going to be able to remove all those masks, all the pretense, everything that has been in front of you, that has been blocking you from the love that you truly desire and from being who you truly choose to be. You're going to be able to speak up in a way that you can be heard, not being loud because you weren't allowed to speak, but to speak up, say, communicate the things that matter to you in a way that other people can hear them and that are a real match for what you truly believe, even if other people don't believe it and even if they don't agree. You're going to be able to stand by what's important to you, what matters to you. You're going to be able to say, look, this is what I believe and this is what I think, and it's okay if you don't. This is what I'm choosing to do, and allow yourself to stand there so that you can trust yourself with confidence. And you're going to be able to learn also, we're going to teach you how you can attract a man who's attracted to your power and not your pain. And this is something that I really want to leave you with today. When you have not healed those pieces of your past that are still impacting you today, and some of them you're aware of, and I promise you, some of them are in your subconscious. When you are not healing that, you are attracting men who are attracted to that pain. So narcissistic men with narcissistic tendencies, manipulators, people who lie, men who cheat are attracted to women who lack confidence. They're why? Because there's something about them that just draws them to you. If you have attracted more than one man who has lied to you, there is an energy that you're carrying that you may not be aware of, or maybe you are, that when you're able to break free from that, those kind of men will no longer be attracted to you. And if by chance one does, you'll be able to identify it right away. So when you don't heal your past tends to repeat itself because you're still being influenced by it. Even if you try and change your behavior, you're still influenced by it. So doing the opposite of what you've always done isn't what's effective. What's effective is knowing what works and has been proven to work to be able to attract the kind of love that you desire and not the kind of love that you've been used to. So if you're tired of settling and you're tired of pretending and you're tired of having this experience of going through the same movie over and over again with these different actors and you, and you're ready for something beautiful, powerful, amazing, magical, magnificent, then go ahead and click on the link to the Beautifully You Challenge. All right. This is going to be a week that can transform your life. We know so many women have written to us after they've done this challenge. One in particular that comes to my mind, 9 days after this challenge, she met her husband. 9 days after she met him. So it's a very powerful challenge. So I'm really inviting you all to click on the link that Diane dropped in there. Diane, can you, let me see. I don't see it in the notes, but I'm going to just double check because it's a pretty long. Can you just drop the link by itself? Thank you. Okay, so let me see some of the things because you all have been writing here. Yes, absolutely terrified, hard to trust. Yeah, so Tamara, if you want to be able to choose love over fear, and I understand that the fear, that terror is coming from, what if I end up there again? You can hear there's a trust issue. What if I don't recognize it again? There's another trust and skill issue. What if I find out too late? All those things that can come up for you, I strongly recommend you join us at the Beautifully You Challenge so that you can, like I said earlier, unhook yourself from that so that fear is not doing the choosing, but you are doing the choosing. Your vision is doing the choosing and your power is. Let's see. Barbara says, it's very difficult to get away from someone with narcissistic behaviors. Been there, done that. The help of the coaching program finally got me to a place where I'm finally away from it. That's so great to hear, Barbara. Yes, it can feel very challenging when you don't have the skills. When you don't know how to do it, what are you going to do? What you've always done or the newest thing that somebody's saying works? But this has been proven to work. These skills have been proven to work. The heart work works. It really does. And it creates, what's the word I'm looking for? The word that's coming up, and I'm just going to say it's miraculous results. And that's a big promise. It's a big promise, but I can say that with nothing left inside because I know it to be true. It did it for me, and it's done it for so many women all around the world, like all around the world. Hong Kong, Ukraine, Germany, United Kingdom, Spain, South Africa, Israel, all over the United States. Women are doing this work, and they are experiencing a personal transformation and a transformation in their lives and love lives. Oh, happy birthday, John. Happy birthday. Okay. This is what I'm going through as a major transformation. Okay. I'm so glad that you're going through this. And yes, so Mary is part of our program. So she's learning how to be able to be who she is outside of all that happened. So I'm so glad that you're in our program. And I'm so glad that you've gotten such a benefit from it. This is what our life's work is. Yes, Audrey, I did say that. He'll be attracted to your pain and not your power. So we want to heal so that he's attracted to your power. And what's power? I'm not talking about force. I'm talking about you're standing there in all of your beauty and in all of your magnificence and in all of the beautiful, talented gifts that you have, and you know who you are. And you don't have to try and impress anybody, and you don't have to do anything to get somebody like you, and you don't have to try to nothing. That's power. That's power. And then knowing how to create what you want. That's power. How to do it by mitigating the risk. So if you're someone who's afraid, mitigate the risk. Learn how to mitigate that risk so you're not putting yourself in a position where you're back where you were before. Learn what got you there. And it's not just about the past or your parents or what you did or didn't know. There's something that got you, but there's also something that's had you stay there. And so when you break free from that, then that power is unleashed. All right, let's see. I'm so glad. Yes, Marianne, I'm so glad. Okay, so will a replay be available? The people who upgrade to VIP will be able to have the replay of all of the sessions, both the general session and the VIP sessions. Listen, I highly recommend the VIP session. It's a very small investment. I think it's $47, but you get so much value. You get the same kind of coaching that our clients who pay $15,000 to $25,000 get. You're getting it for free in this challenge. And in VIP, we're going to go even deeper because we have a whole extra hour. In addition to that, when you upgrade to VIP, you also are going to get 2 additional coaching sessions. Once the challenge is over, you'll have those 2 coaching sessions with Gladys. It's a group call for all the VIPs so that you have support even after the event is over to integrate what you've learned into your life. So it's a win-win all the way around. So knowing how to be able to identify narcissists, how to also identify what they're attracted to, and then what you can do so that you're not in that dysfunctional loop. That's what today's love chat was. I am standing in that it created value for you. Please share it with somebody that you know will make a difference for you. Maybe she wasn't able to attend live, but I'll tell you that we get to heal hearts and heal lives through the power of sharing and generosity. Somebody may not know who Heart's Desire is or who the Love Twins are or who Michelle Rosa is, but you do. And so don't keep yourself, I won't say what don't want you to do. I invite you to share yourself with generosity today. Make a difference in somebody's life. You never know the ripple effects that come after your generosity. You will never know that until you do it and you hear that thank you. So thank you for being here. This is my thank you to you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for participating the way you have. If you have any questions or comments, you can certainly leave them in the comments section. If you are watching the replay of this, please put #replay and then let us know what your biggest takeaway was. And I'd love to hear from everybody. What was your biggest takeaway? And what is it that you're now committed to doing now that you understand that there's a way outside of this cycle and that there's a way that you can attract high quality, open-minded, loving, generous, empathic, and just caring men. They're out there. Our clients are marrying them, and you get to be our next success story. So thanks for being here. We'll be back here next Tuesday at 6:00 p.m. Eastern for Love Chat with the Love Twins. And until our hearts meet again, always remember that you are loved. Goodbye for now.